Hello, my geniuses. How are you doing? How are you doing today? Now, my geniuses, are you as excited as I am about the presidential election? I hope so. I know you might have a little doubt because you do not know all about it and you're wondering, oh, this doesn't make sense to me. Well, guess what? I, Kadian, your online tutor, is here to explain to you all you need to know about the presidential election in the United States of America. Now, my geniuses, after this lesson, you will know all that is important. Okay, so we are going to jump right into it. You may have questions. So, as your online tutor, it is my duty to explain everything that you need to know about the presidential elections. Now, are you ready? Okay, let's go. Now, my geniuses, the presidential elections, right, is done by casting votes. And you might be wondering, what are votes? Well, that part is very easy and you will get it in a jiffy. It will be no problem, right? So let's say you're at home with your parents and they want you to decide what to eat on a Friday. So you have 4 other siblings. So what they might do is cast a vote. They might say, those who want pizza, put your hand up. Now you put your hand up because you like pizza. But guess what? You're the only one. So there are 3 other siblings. They decided that they wanted Chinese takeout. So there it is that you would have lost the election, right? So that within itself is a simple election, and that is what vote is. When you vote, you make an important decision. All right, so once you're voting, it's making an important decision. That's what happens to determine who becomes the president of the United States of America. All right, so now that you understand what a vote is, let us jump into it. Now, the presidential election is held every 4 years, all right? So it's held every 4 years. Now, what happened here is that people are given some tiny papers with the candidates on it, and then those are called ballots, by the way. So it's called ballots, B-A-L-L-O-T-S, right? So they're given ballots. Now they go behind the little booth and they go behind there because they give them their privacy. After going behind the booth, then they will tick the candidate of their choice. I know some countries allow them to tick, some countries allow them to create an X beside the candidate of their choice, right? But that is what happens on the ballot paper. Then that ballot paper is placed into a tamper, yes, a tamper-proof box. So it goes into this box and it's also fraud-proof, guys. So meaning nobody can tamper with it. Nobody can create other ballots like similar to that one and put in there. The machine will pick it up when it's counting it, because then the votes are counted by machines, right? So the machines count the vote, and those are fraud proof and they are tamper proof. All right, now you may be wondering, where do they vote? Can they vote at home? Where do they go? So on the day of election, they usually go to the library or to schools, and those are public library and public schools owned by the government. All right, so that is where they usually go to vote. Of course, they now have voting taking place where you can mail your vote and you can vote before election day, but the process is similar, right? Now, guys, we have the Democrats, which is represented by the color blue. So the Democrats, they're represented by the color blue, and the Republicans, they are represented by the color red. All right, so if you hear about states being blue states, then naturally those states would go in favor of the Democrats. But you might also hear that these particular states are considered red states, and that means they usually go for the Republicans. All right? I hope you have understood so far. I am making it simple for you, my geniuses, because I do not want you to be left out of anything. I want you to be aware of everything that goes on. And pretty soon, they will be having the presidential election. So let us continue so you can learn more. All right, so it's done every 4 years. Don't forget that. Now, one president can have 2 terms, but no more than 2 terms. But again, after the 4 years, that president would have to go through all the process again. And if he or she is elected, then that person will be given another 4 years to rule or to be president. All right? Now, this is what I just explained to you. Now let us look at 3. Primaries. You may be wondering, what are primaries? Primaries are done to select presidential candidates. So even before it comes to the presidential election, you have what is called primaries, and those are elections in particular states. And here you have delegates voting. So delegates are chosen. Not everybody gets to vote then. It's delegates that are chosen, and the delegates choose who they want to represent their party. So that is where you have the candidates being selected. All right. Now, yes, the delegates choose, guys. So they're the ones that choose. It's not like everybody gets to vote. Now, there is a national convention. So after that, there is a national convention, and this is held, and representatives must get at least half of the party's votes. All right. So the representative that they elect must get at least half of the party's votes. Or if that does not happen, then they again select different candidates. So even if as an elector or as a delegate you voted before for a particular candidate and that candidate did not get enough vote, that candidate can choose to withdraw from the election. So that candidate can say, you know what, I didn't get enough votes, so I'm pulling out right here. And those delegates can choose to, of course, vote for someone else. But usually at the National Convention, this is done. Now, for you to vote, you must be a registered citizen that is over the age of 18 years. So if you're 10, my geniuses, 11, sorry, you'll have to wait until you're 18, and you must be registered to vote, and you also should be a citizen. So it's only persons that are 18 and citizens and registered to vote that can vote in the presidential election. All right? All right. So guys, now you might be wondering, how comes they know that election should be held on that time? Election, the presidential election, is fixed, right? Fixed meaning there is one day or date for it. Election is usually held on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. So it's usually held on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Now, each state has different electors. In some states, winners take all. So let's say you have 10 electors in that state, right? And the Republican gains 6 of those votes, right? And the Democrat 4. Now, because the Republican won, then the Republican will just get all of those 10 votes. You see how it goes? Yes, like a complicated chess game, my geniuses. But that happens. So, yes, this is what it means when it says winners take all. Huh? Yeah. some states, but not all states are like that. Now, you might be wondering, what are swing states, right? Swing states are those states that the Republican can win or the Democrat can win. So it's so close that either the Republican or the Democrat Party, they have a chance of winning that state. And in those states, my geniuses, they campaign even harder. So you will find them going out, even until it's the tough time. Yes, they're right there campaigning hard to see if they can get those delegates, those electors in those states. Yeah, because they want those votes. All right. Now, 538 is that magical number, right? So it's 538 that they look at. But if you get 270 votes, so if you get half of that, then you would have won the presidential election. Well, I might say the word win, but it doesn't even come as easy as that, because after that, there is what is called the Electoral College, right? Electoral College. And the Electoral College is a body of electors, and they make the final decision. So the Electoral College is a body of electors, right? And they make the final decision. This is done in January. So even though the election takes place in November, it's the Electoral College that will recount all the ballots, do everything, do their assessment, their analysis, and then they decide who the president is going to be for the next 4 years. Now, guys, after that decision, after that big decision, then you have what is called an inauguration ceremony. And the inauguration ceremony is like this big ceremony that officially states that you are the president for the next 4 years. Guys, I hope I explained it to you. Did you want to read it? It's right here if you want to read it for yourself. Okay? But I wanted to share with you, I didn't want you to be left out. So come election, when you hear about swing states, and when you hear them talking about blue states and red states and ballots and booths and fraud and tamper, you know what all those mean, because guess what? Your online tutor, Cadian, taught you about the election, right? You will not be outdone. You will not be left behind, my geniuses. So there you've had it for the presidential election in the United States of America. Yes, my geniuses, you heard it right. That's the national anthem there, the United States of America anthem. And that you will hear several times, many times after the election at the inauguration ceremony. Yes, so definitely. And when they hear that, they beam with pride. So my geniuses, I hope that I helped you and you have a better understanding of what the presidential election will be like. Now, my geniuses, I want to thank you so very much for joining me on Reading Unlimited with Cadian. I want to thank you for liking, for commenting, for subscribing to my channel. I want to thank you for commenting. Remember, when you comment, that's the only way that I can hear from you. Please go ahead and touch that notification bell so you will be the first to know once I upload videos. Okay? Now, have you been looking in that mirror? Have you been kind to yourself? Have you been telling yourself great things? You're beautiful. You're smart. You're wonderful. You're magnificent. You have presidential potential. Yes, the sky is the limit, my geniuses. Be kind to yourself, but in so doing, be kind to others. And if you have nothing good to say about people, please, my geniuses, say absolutely nothing at all. Remember to join me on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when I go live for fun, excitement, and giveaways, okay? So make sure that you join me then. My geniuses, have yourselves a great day. Bye.